back, YouTube. So today I am going to get on to my heating pipes here. Our radiant heat, we have hot water boiler heat. And man, look at that corrosion. I'm gonna cut that out. And I'm gonna reuse the fin tubes. So I don't, there's nothing wrong with those. I am gonna cut the connections free and resolder, because this setup, as you can see, the water comes down, loops around, and then returns back to the system. I'm going with a single row because in that room now, or what used to be there, was this double pass on the south wall. In the west wall, there was no radiant heat along the bottom of that floor. Consequently, that room was always cold. I mean, most of our weather comes from the west, northwest, when it's winter. So I need that wall to be covered with radiant heat. So I'm gonna redo it all. I'm gonna redo those connections and those elbows. And what I'll end up doing, in order to give me some more room, is I'll cut a few fins off so I can have a clean cut here, clean it up, put on an elbow, and have some area to solder, which is not gonna hurt anything. I mean, there's virtually no loss. I need 11 feet on either wall, which is probably pretty close to what I've got here, since that is what we took off to begin with. I'll have to add a little pipe. I think if I cut back here, I'm gonna lose a couple inches, and then I'll cut here, which I'm gonna lose a couple inches or an inch or so, and then here as well. So I'll have to end up adding a small coupling, a small piece of pipe, and an elbow for when I make the turn on the wall. But again, no big deal. I'm gonna cut some of these fins back. And these things are surprisingly fragile. Get them to a certain point and they just tear off. Real thin aluminum. So if you look on these couplings, there's a dimple right there that is halfway on the coupling. And that'll be your mark. So when you cut it, that'll tell me how far back potentially I need to go in order to make that sweat. So I'm gonna probably go 2 or 3 more. So does everybody remember our pro tip? Which I'm not a pro, but I like to sand before I cut. So I'm going to cut it as close to the end as I think I can. So again, we want to make sure our copper is as clean as possible. And you can see what that knurl does halfway. You put it into the pipe, it stops. Some of them are slip couplings, and you can push that thing all the way through, which I don't know. I guess in certain situations they have their place, but I don't really like them. So I've got some solder. Okay, so you got my flux. I'm gonna put a bunch of flux on them. I did a video when I did the put in the outdoor shower. I showed how to sweat a copper joint, but it's worth mentioning if you are going to do this, or if you ever want to try doing this. The guy I learned off of that taught me how to do this said, you can't put on too much flux, but you can certainly put on too little. So don't worry about how much flux you're putting on. Put it on there. Okay, once you sweat up, while it's still hot, take a wet rag and wipe off the flux. Not bad. It should be all right. All right. I'm gonna do a few more that way. Probably get back to you here in a little bit. So one thing I'm installing on the end run of this bedroom is a air bleeder. I'll be able to twist this cap on, bleed the air, and then I can put an auto air bleeder on it if I need to at some point. Either way, that's going on now. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm getting ready to grind, cut this piece of metal in half. And what it is that is the cover on the dual row heating elements, radiant heating that we had up in that room. I'm gonna cut it in half because I'm gonna do a single row on each wall. So I'm gonna cut this in half and reuse it. So that's what's next. And then also the other piece, the backer, I'm gonna cut it and reuse it as well. So all right, next up what I'm gonna do is I'm cutting these carriers in half. So again, on the old system, you had a double. I'm gonna cut them in half to make a single carrier. And then I'm gonna use this one as well. So I've only got 5 of them, so I gotta be creative and make it work. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this is the backer that goes up against the wall, and I'm gonna use it differently than what this is, obviously. I'm gonna cut it in half, and then I'm gonna section it where my carriers are. And then just like in our bathroom, I'm gonna get a piece of angle and rivet it to the top to sort of simulate what I've got here already and cover that up because that's ugly. So another thing that's important about these radiant heaters is that the fins are straight. So you can see here, that's been folded over, it's been kicked, or maybe it got bent over when I moved it out of the house, I don't know, but different areas like there, You can see the fins are bent. You want to get those as straight as you can. It's not the most critical thing on the face of the earth, but it's important. You want the air to be able to travel through these. That's where the heat transfer is. So they don't have to be as straight as a ruler, but you want to straighten them out so all the air can pass through them and you have your heat transfer. I'll straighten all these out down through here. And I think we're about ready to possibly go up and install. Well, I'm gonna blow them out with air too. They're all dusty. You see that gnarl? It's about 800 years of dust and grime. What do you think about that?
Yep.
How do you feel about the radiant heaters?
Is it gonna keep me warm?
That's what I do. So my backer piece here is 96 inches. I'm gonna cut 6 lengths off of it. So every 16 inches, I'm gonna cut a length. There will be 3 of those per wall. I'm hoping that's enough to hold everything together. I think it will be. So I'm gonna pre-drill some holes because my construction screws, I'll go through this mount. All right, so I tried to sweat that on. There's water in your pipe. When you're sweating, it doesn't work very well, which makes me angry. So there shouldn't be any water in this pipe. The valves are off. Sheesh. All right, well, I'll figure that out. So I'm done tonight. I gotta get some 45s anyway. I can't really finish this. All I have is elbows and couplings, and I need some 45s to get this done. So I wanted to get it stubbed out and get this last piece of drywall on that I've been waiting for, because I knew I was going to have to do this. I knew I was going to have to. I've got vice grips on it to hold it out far from the wall so I could put a coupling on it. When I cut it, the pipe, it had tension on it. When I cut it, the pipe sprang back into the wall. So I've got to put a coupling on it and then put an extension out. And then I'm going to have to 45 down and then go over, because it was taller and now it's not going to work. So I've got to modify it a little bit, which no huge deal, but I got to do it. I mean, I think it's shredded. So I guess one thing I didn't consider was the height of these electrical outlets in relation to where the heaters are going to be. So I think that right there is kind of going to be how it has to be, because I'm going to return back with copper. It's got to fit underneath it. I can't go too high because my box is in the way. So this is going to be pretty much where it's at. It's going to be the height. And I'm going to mark it. Oops. And then get my level. Just kind of mark, and that's where it's going to be. got one more piece about 3 feet long of that angle material. I'm gonna go get it and cut a few more strips, only smaller, so I can support the corner, and then maybe one down there at the beginning to support right there. Man, tell you what, Phillips bits on these kind of drills and stuff are just slowly getting faded out, which is fine with me. What? See that?
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay, so I got everything tied in. And then tomorrow, I'm not gonna fill it tonight. It's a little late. I need to, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning, shut the boiler down, and let it cool off while we're at church. And then hopefully by the time we get back, it will be cooled down enough that I can add the cold water to it. So you never want to add cold water to a hot boiler. You'll shock it and it'll crack. You'll crack the cast in the heat exchanger. So you don't want to do that. So we'll see you tomorrow.
I'm tired from all this washing.
You gonna be warm tonight?
No.
Huh?
No.
You're not gonna be warm tonight?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night will be warm. Hopefully. Hopefully there's no leaks. Oh, but there shouldn't be any leaks. There may be a leak. I don't know. We got back from church and I turned the furnace off this morning so that it would cool down so I could fill it. And it got cold today. We've got a cold front that came in. It's supposed to get down to 26 tonight, and it's begun. It's getting real cold out. I don't know what the temperature is outside. In my shop here, it's 46, which I don't know. In springtime, 46, you got a t-shirt and shorts on, but right now it's cold. So, and the wind's just howling. So I went ahead and filled it, and we've got the heat on upstairs. No leaks. It's all good. So I'm happy with that. Now for kind of the completion of that job, to put on the skirt on the front of the registers. So I've got these. If you watched our bathroom vid, you saw what I did with those. I took the corrugated like that and cut it and kind of put a corrugated front on it. Give it really a neat look that Kristen likes. So I'm gonna do the same thing. However, this one is an 8-foot section and this is just over 2 feet. So I need on the south wall, I need 11 feet. So I'm gonna have to weld, just tack on this extra piece. And on the west wall, it's just at 10 feet, which I'm gonna gain a couple inches because of the south wall. It's gonna stand off just a little bit. And I made it shorter to begin with because I didn't want the closet door opening into the register, so I shortened it, and so to give it a little more clearance before the door hits the register. So I think I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna have just a little gap, I think, on the chimney end, and probably not, because I can make that up with my corrugated. So I don't know, it's gonna turn out fine. Everything's gonna be fine, and it's gonna look good. And yeah, I'm getting ready to weld this up right now. All right, so I've got the first pieces of corrugated tin on the register. And what I'm gonna have to do, I think, is wait till we pull the carpet up to do the rest of this. I don't want to go installing it and then be unhappy with the way it looks after we pull the carpet up. Right now, what's going on is there's a couple spots that look like they need trimmed, and I'm gonna have to make some sort of some more supports for it because they're sagging on the ends where I ran out of those hangers. I only had 5 of the hangers, so I made do with what I had, and doesn't look right. So I'm gonna have to make something to shore that up, and then I'll have to trim the bottom of the corrugated to get it all to look even once the carpet's up. So that's what it looks like right now. You can see I've got a gap, and that's touching the floor, and then it rises in the middle, and then it's back at the floor down at the end. So I'm confident I'm fairly level. I'm not that far out of whack. So I don't have a support on this end. My first support is right there. So I mean, we're talking 4 feet. So that piece is sagging. So I'll make something for down here and bring that up. And I may not have to trim anything off the bottom down there. That piece down there is the piece I welded. It's not perfectly straight, so I'll have to figure something out there as well. And then this piece, I'm just gonna wait again until we pull the carpet to even put the corrugated on it. It'll be fine for now. It's in place, heat's on, so that's all good stuff. But this is the look we're going for. Just like in the bathroom, once it's all said and done, it's gonna look real good. But I don't feel confident finishing it right now till we get the carpet up. So stay tuned. But that's it for the heat video. Yeah, it was fun. It's gonna look cool when I'm all done. This is what it is right now. I hope you learned something. I hope I was able to show you something in regard to sweating copper and just my thought in what I do in this room. So it's gonna look cool when we're all done. So stay tuned. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.